Guys, what is going on? Wanted to go over my trade today. I did a trade this morning and a trade this afternoon. Right now it's about 1:50 p.m. and I want to go over with you guys and give you some insight exactly why I got into this trade, how they were both profitable, and how honestly I could have profited much more money if I would have been sitting around my computer all day today. But unfortunately, I had some errands I had to run. But first things first, I'd like to go over this morning's trade. Again, like I said, I was running errands today, so it was a little busy for me, but I want to show you guys this because, one of the biggest things that I see is people overcomplicating things in the market, overcomplicating levels, overcomplicating candle price action. Um, and, I know there's a lot of people out there that are very good at scalping, and there's days for that, right? When we have our rangy days, when you don't get clear directional days, people can even scalp on directional days. But the problem with scalping, in a lot of cases, is you have to have either a very good entry, or b, you have to average in heavy, right? And in most cases, especially when we're talking about people with funded accounts, what tends to happen is, that entry goes against you and you average, and then all of a sudden you get to the point where, and we've all been there, I've been there myself too, in regards to scalping, but you end up averaging in so heavy, rather it be ES or NQ. You average in so heavy that when it does keep going against you, you get liquidated because, with a lot of these funded traders, you have that trailing stop loss, or, maybe you have your own funded account and you just didn't have that much margin in there. Either way, it happens to all of us where you are scalping, you're averaging in heavier and heavier, and then before you know it, you're in 5, 6, 10 contracts, and then each move you get is $100, right? And it can really clap you fast. So with ES, the typical tick, we call it. So you can see it right now, 25, 50, 75. Each tick is $12.50, right? Um, so with one contract, it can still go against you, but it's a very rare occasion when ES has a huge, huge move at one time, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, if you have big news, you can get that big candle going to a certain level. Maybe it's liquidity, maybe it's a fair value gap, maybe it's an imbalance within that trading day. But more times than not, one contract with ES, it can go against you $20, and it's only a $1,000 loss against you. So, um, this video is going to be more about not over leveraging, and I'm going to show you my trades here. I just played one ES contract, and this is great for people getting started, whether you opened up your own margin account or if you're playing around with one of the funded trader options, you've passed your evaluation, and now you're playing a PA funded account. I highly encourage you, even if you're experienced, just play one contract, right? If one trade's not enough for you, then play two trades, right? In a day. But you want to build that cushion, so you don't have to worry about over leveraging it and it going against you. So in today's video, I want to show you guys what happens more often than not. We need to remember that the market, big players, are the ones moving this market. Okay, it's not people like you and I that are moving this market. They need these certain levels to either get into a trade or to get out of a trade, right? Now, let's go over this morning's trade. Okay, you can see my arrows here, right? Buy, sell. Okay, I played one contract in both trades today. Okay, I got in right here. Why did I get in right here? Because I marked out this liquidity today. It had already come down and made lows. It swept. If we go back, it swept lows here on the 8th. So 2 days ago. Yesterday it came down, swept those lows. So why would it keep going down, right? It could go down and fill levels and stuff, but we had liquidity up here. Obviously, it came back down, but we were grinding up. And what's the next level I was looking for to fill this liquidity here? You can literally eliminate everything else more times than not. Again, unless we have a rangy day, but it's up to you to identify the type of day we're having. I encourage you, if we have a day where you really can't identify where the market's going to go, take the day off. If you have a phenomenal day trading today and can't trade tomorrow because it's a news day and the market's just having a complete shit day, walk away. Trade another day when you can identify what's going on. So here this morning, I'm going to tell you how I could have made more money. So I got in long because obviously we had the pullback and, but right here was my price target. And that's why I encourage get into one ES, one time. Sometimes you're not going to nail the best entry, right? Maybe you got in up here and then it went against you a little bit, but you can look down and see that there's really nothing that it needs to grab. What did it do? It came, and this morning was a news day too at 8:30, so that's why we had this big candle, some volatility right there. So typically it'll just be a smooth transition, but obviously you have to be able to see, if be able to identify if we're going to have news that day or whatever, because that can do some pretty crazy stuff with the market. But I got in here, sold way too early. I called this out in the Discord. Me and Gundy both called it out. We knew it was going to liquidity, and him and I were both in this trade. I just had to take profit right here. Really no specific level. I just had places to be, and I didn't have the patience to wait for it to get into this liquidity level up here. And I drew this from over here. What do I tell you guys on my videos? It created this liquidity and sold off, so there's a lot of liquidity where longs got clapped right here. It came up into it, rejected off the liquidity box, which typically happens. The market makers are here to try to trick you out. So it came in and then came down and swept the lows first. Then it goes up because obviously they need to clap as many people as possible. So being able to identify that is crucial. I knew it was coming up here. And look what it did. It grabbed these highs, right? Wicked above, grabbed all of that liquidity, allowed big players to get into their short position knowing what? That it's going to come down here and sweep these lows. Happens every single day. Watch it. You'll see. Happens every day. And that's why I encourage, if you're a new trader, scalping takes a lot of experience. It takes a lot of experience with averaging. It takes a lot of experience, when to average, when to add. A lot of people kind of add at levels that don't really make sense, and that's what causes them to get clapped out of their position. But we grab this liquidity, beautiful rejection, and you can see here on this liquidity box that I drew, we did get a couple wicks above, which is absolutely normal when you hit a liquidity level. But all the bodies closed within this liquidity box, which was a beautiful indicator that we were going to end up selling off. Plus that, if you're a candle player, we had a doji here on the 5-minute, right? Had this big sell-off. You're going to get pullbacks during a sell-off, right? That's going to be put into place for people that are potentially over-leveraged scalping, that are in 10 contracts. That little move when you're in 10 contracts will stop you out, right? People are going to, or people are going to jump into long here. And then you get some engineered liquidity, right? And eventually it's going to go to that major level, right? Towards that major level. A lot of people try to time the bottom and catch it long, but you need to look at the overall picture on what's happening, right? What is going on? Why is this happening? I got home from my errands and I looked at the chart and I said, oh, well, it swept the highs today. So probably going to sweep the lows, and I seen that they already did their pullback to clap out the people that were short, right, that were scalping short. So I got in right here. Not the best entry, right? But when you have an overall price target that you plan on going to, you go for it. And that's exactly what I did, and I had my take profit right at the top of this liquidity box here, okay? Sometimes, like I said, when I pointed out on top, sometimes you'll see price action come down to the liquidity box and bounce off of it first and then come back down and fill it. In this case, obviously, it decided to fill the liquidity instantly, right? You've seen this big wick down. It bounced up and then came back down, and now it's below it again. And I'm not going to show it in this video, but I do have a fair value gap in the 62 range that potentially could get filled today. But both highs and lows have been swept today, and that's exactly what I played. Made profit both trades stress-free. It's, the reason people get stressed out, again, I can't say this enough, is when people over leverage into a position. So this specific trade was one ES contract short, 387 bucks in about 20 minutes. Okay. Go tell me another job that's going to pay you $387 in 20 minutes. It's not going to happen. Sometimes you're going to be in a trade longer than you want, but I'm telling you guys, when you have these levels identified and you know where the market's going to go and you're not over leveraged, you don't have to be staring at it worrying, right? Where when you're scalping, you can't really walk away from the computer. And I'm not deterring people from scalping, because people can make a lot of money scalping, but this is a very good way for beginners to see what's going to happen, right? To have that level. And if you're not over leveraged and you are in an eval account or you are in a PA account and you don't have that cushion yet to really let it go against you, this allows it to go against you and have these pullbacks. Have these pullbacks when you're in your short position and you're not stressing out. So that's the video today. Today was around a $750 day for me. Again, stress free, easy. But I hope this video can kind of help you guys, not only to start marking up your charts, because that's critical, but to look at these liquidity levels and understand that the market's not out for you. These levels are there. 80% of traders probably don't see these levels because they don't want to take the time to mark them up. But it works every time. The market goes from liquidity to liquidity. And it's really as simple as that. It takes time losing and seeing it for yourself every day. And the same situation happens at nighttime too. But that's the video, guys. I hope it helps. I hope you can identify the chart, see why I got into it. I encourage you to go onto your chart and mark these things out every day and see why I'm getting into the plays that I'm getting into. We called all these out on the Discord. People made a lot of money today. So again, if I wasn't running errands, I probably would have went in a little bit heavier, where I could be there watching it. But again, how much money do you need in a day, right? Some days you're going to only make 700 bucks. Some days you're going to make $3,000. It really just depends how far the liquidity levels are apart. Obviously, ideally during the rejection here, I would have gotten in and rode this all the way down to the next liquidity. But unfortunately, I was out on errands today. But again, tomorrow's another day. This happens every single day. Just be on the lookout for news and things like that. And that is the video, guys. I will see you on the next one. Please consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and leave me a comment if you guys caught either of these liquidity plays today. I will see you guys on the next video.